Welcome back from break, ladies and gentlemen. Dolson here on the desk alongside me for set number 2 of the day is Pretty Hair. Have you gotten to play Con yet? Speaking of that little Con commercial we saw.
Atlas?
Atlas, yeah, Con. Have you ever played Con?
I have played Con.
Have you played Atlas?
I have played Atlas as well.
I was just wondering. It sounds a lot like Cable from Deadpool. Sounds like
kind of the same vibe too.
Same vibe, same sort of idea. But looking forward to set number 2 of the day. We have a number 2 versus a number 4 matchup in their regions. Sour Team versus the Hussars. And looking at Sour Team first, Zorini's not going to be back for these matches today. He was playing with Na'Vi in the PPL. And these games were played on Saturday, so he was unable to make it back in time. But you still have a pretty star-studded lineup on the side of Sour Team. Perdo, Sheepa, Ninu, Jopi. I mean, you have a lot of guys who can make a really big difference in these games.
Right, and what I was kind of talking about with Ev is that you're almost in a limbo as Sour Team. You need to maybe consider that, Zorini is going to be playing with Na'Vi for the foreseeable future until Mutu figures out, how he's going to make his way and fill his spot in the Premier League. But I think they have certainly a good enough core.
Right.
I'll be honest, before Zorini went and played on Na'Vi and was very impactful, I really just kind of gave a lot of the core credit to those three, Perdo, Sheepa, and Ninu. And I said, if they can just get Jopi and Zorini on like that Damba and Nara and just have those guys be good enough and consistent on the objective to have some type of pressure on the point, then those other three are going to do the rest.
And that's such an interesting storyline I think you have to watch is whenever Zorini is able to come back with all this new experience, he's going to be able to make a really big difference on his side. Looking at the flip side, though, you have the Blazing Hussars down in 4th place in this region, but looking to get things going. They have a few players who I think would be able to do that. You have guys like Kamaker, you have Doodle, you have Grafies, Toot Toot, Surretts. I mean, that's a great lineup. Just haven't really been able to put the pieces together yet.
Yeah, this is it's an incredibly competitive region of Paladins. Let's call it like it is. These guys are not bad players by any stretch of the imagination. They are a very kind of new roster, and the old players, but not really having played much before together. I think every other roster has some type of old synergy. In the case of Clown Fiesta, a lot of those guys have even been to LAN. So this is a very fresh roster outside of Doodle, who has a lot of experience. We talk enough about him. The rest of the roster needs to mesh.
Absolutely. And looking at Sour Team again, I mean, it's important. You guys mentioned this on the desk this morning. The map differential is going to start coming into play for a lot of. I mean, Sour Team just saw Clown Fiesta win 3-0.
Yep.
So that's really what they need to be looking for here if they want to keep up.
Pace is set, right? That's the big thing here for Clown Fiesta, or for Sour Team, excuse me. If they don't want to fall further behind on this map differential in these, I think they're going to certainly win this matchup today.
Right.
It's just a matter of can they get out cleanly 3-0 as Clown Fiesta did to stay in the race for first.
Well, because I mean, you win 3-1 today. One map differential this week might not make a huge difference, but over the course of a season, one map here, 2 maps here, that really all starts to add up. Brightmarsh is going to be map number 1 for these teams. Sour Team going with an early pip ban. We saw Simsalute doing some work there on the pip in the last game. The Genos as well starting to come out more in a lot of these matches.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit higher priority. We saw that in the Console League. We saw it in the Premier League. So the Minor League as well, starting to find some Genos plays. Hussars able to set the pace, though, for themselves here. They get their first choice of champion. It is going to be the Inara, so pretty standard on that side. But now Sour Team has 2.
And that felt like a little bit of the reason for the pit ban, just to keep some powerful stuff open. Con Ash would be the big front line to grab here. But taking that Inara is something that Sour Team has relied on a good bit in the weeks prior, so curious to see how they operate without having it.
Cassie is certainly somebody who can deal with an Inara pretty well, especially a Con. So Sour Team answering back with a couple really strong power picks of their own. The Damba coming out as well. I like that pick, keeping the Inara nice and healthy. Don't necessarily have to pocket her the entire time, as well as the Ashe coming out, who's also been a pretty high priority tank. So Hussars get themselves 3 pretty top-tier champions here. Sour Team looking to do the same with their next 2.
The more I look at Sour Team's Con, Cassie, the more I like it. I think Con does a really good job at countering out what Ashe brings to the table. You can cancel out her shoulder bash with your commander's grab. You could even flip her out of the ult if you get it positioned well enough. You could overpower out of her ult. A lot of what she looks to do and operate on, you can commander's grab through her shield. Like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wow, you can really just kind of like have your way with that character. So Con, if played properly here, I think is going to be in a good spot to deal with Ashe, who is otherwise a very big problem for a lot of these teams.
Right. Well, when you put Genos with Cassie, you're going to be
In
bound
this
to do a
game,
lot of
you
damage
win
as well.
or
The
you die.
Leon
There is
flipping
no
the
middle
script a
ground.
little bit on the side of the Hussars, getting themselves some range here on Bright Marsh. Leon, certainly a champion that is able to do well on a map like this. So
Don't worry,
expect more of the
subjects.
same. And then the Bomb
After
King
a
as
few
well.
good lashes, you'll all
Not
see it
taking
my
that away,
way.
I think, from Sour Team, because having the
Zin.
Cassie, Bomb King, Genos would have been a lot. You're thinking Zin here for Sour Team, pairing it with the Genos and the Cassie as well. Drogos, it is instead.
All right. Big Balls picking that straight into the Leon here.
That's right.
I think Ninu has done so well on Zin in times past. I think Zin's a decent matchup against Bomb King, and not many people can say that. And now that Luminary Genos is coming back up, I expect Sour Team to lean on that pick a decent bit more.
Well, Sour Team get some champions they're happy about. Blazing Hussars do the same. Game number 1 is going to be where we see how it all plays out. But to tell us about it, we'll send it down to your casters.
Thank you, guys. It's time to get started here. Favorite map intro for sure. Rainday Gormizer on the cast for you today. It's time to get started with a beautiful set, our second of the European region in the Paladins Minor League. And we're going to have some really top dogs here in Perdo, Ninu, and Sheepa alongside Coriel and Jopi going up against Kamiker, Sakes, Andrew Doodle, Graphies, and Toot Toot. Sakes being a new addition
Yeah,
to
and
the squad. Or
it's-
six, or how do you...
I want to say either
What are we going for?
Sykes,
Sykes? All right, well,
Sykes.
Let's go Sykes.
Sykes.
Okay.
I like the name Sykes. Either way, it's always interesting when you have a replacement come through, because you would think, oh, well, it's a support, so are you really going to feel the difference? A good support and a bad support, there is a fundamental difference in the feeling. If the support's doing their job, you're not going to really feel their impact, right? Especially when you're the front line. You're just going to be like, cool, my health bar's still up.
Yeah.
When they're doing a spectacular job, they're setting up all of your kills, so you have to be really careful and kind of wonder whether or not he's going to bring that extra level performance.
And on a Moldamba, right? I mean, the things that Spunky does with these shots, being able to throw the stuns out, being able to set plays up, the Dread Serpents that we saw Cuss Cutie hitting, that were creating this space for them. So impactful and so important here. Ninu and the Drogos already doing work. Sour Team found a kill and now pushing back. Andrew Doodle here on the BK, who is not one to be trifled with. He's been a very consistent performer here in the PML.
And this is going to be one of those moments where, well, if Sheepa can get taken down, you might be able to fight back. But I mean, 75%, and again, this is a team that has been at the top of the level, a lot of players who have played in the Premier League, and you're going on as Blazing Hussars, new member, but you have what it takes. We've seen you with that capability. It's just finding those moments. Andrew Doodle's the one where my eyes are really going to be at. Can this Bomb King kind of make the splash that he needs to?
Ninu here firing so many deadly rockets, and even the tanky Anar ain't able to do it, and that's a great flank from the Drogos. Not easy to take that matchup that close with the BK, but he primes a rocket, he waits till he's full health, and then he gets the thrust, so it's harder to hit him with a fire spit already able to land. That is one of the best ways to hit those wiggly targets, just a guaranteed 1,000 AoE, one initial rocket, and then trying to clean them up with some splash damage. It worked, and this is Sour Team off to the races here on Bright Marsh 1-0.
And I mean, being able to make that, the big thing I think Ninu did that honestly impressed me outside of the kill is getting out of there when I saw Leon start looking at him. And it's like, those shots will connect if you just hesitate slightly while you're there. And he recognized, like, oh, I need to get out, and this immediately plummeted to the ground.
It's a great point. Playing against the Leon and the Drogos, not easy, but on this map, there are a lot of angles to still hit your fire spits, still be around. And the choke, it's so different, because if Graphies wants to slide over to be able to see Drogos, she's next to 4 other members of Sour Team, and clearly that doesn't work out. Dread Serpent needed, and that's Sakes. Sykes trying to do his dang thing, gets the kill. I like the play. This is a good sign for the new addition.
Not always do you see him all down. And that, again, when you're looking at it, I want to compare it to Spunky. Like, recognizing when your ult is going to be useful for the team, or when you just need to self-heal. Like, if you go down here, this push gets infinitely harder for your team, because they're going to have to wait for your respawn and really hope they find a couple of kills to keep them going. But you are able to peel for yourself. You get a kill on top of it. It makes it all worthwhile. Unfortunately, Perdo has respawned. Perdo's still hitting hard.
Oh, mid-air, the Dragon Punch connects with the Assert Dominance before she could land. Man, I feel like Ashe is just the most, like, gotcha of a champion to play, as far as, like, she gets got. Every time she tries to jump up, there's a Void Grip, there's a Dragon Punch, there's a Disengage, there's a Poppy Bomb. There's everything. Let this girl ult.
And to hit a Dragon Punch while she's flying through the air.
That's like, cinematic.
You're looking at it, and it's just like, I'm going to uppercut this lady who is already 20 feet off the ground and see where we knock her. And he's able to find it. And I think it's just an understatement to say Ninu is pretty good at Drogos.
Oh, yeah. Looks like me out there.
Yeah, no, natural.
Fantastic. Gosh, he's almost at my level. It's exciting to see. But this is one of the big things, and I think this is what that warranted the Dread Serpent, because he knew, okay, you get Graph VS, and then you get me, Sykes. I mean, then it's over. I mean, Drogos is there snowballing the rest of the 3 members that are alive.
Yeah.
That push ends. At least this way, they use a Dragon Punch to guarantee it, but they also retain their Assert Dominance because the Dragon Punch does lane. So they have 5 essentially ultimates. The Moldama Dread Serpent about to be charged up. Huge Fire Spit, but a heal from Sykes is going to keep Andrew Doodle alive for now.
And being able to kind of hover around Worm Jets enables so much movement, so much mobility, and another midair shot. That time it wasn't Ninu, it was Perdo locking it down, but that Ashe is not going to survive too long, and Andrew Doodle, in a very unfortunate circumstance, not able to do too much. Long-range rockets Ninu is shooting, but they're just locking him down. And I'm going to say this just because I saw the slash lines. I think this is a good time for it. If you could guess any 2 champions on that team that would have kills, you would never put Inara and Moldamba on the top of that list.
Oh, man, yeah. Sykes and Tutu finding kills. That one basically cost a Dread Serpent. I'm not sure if the other one cost a Seismic Crash, but at the end of the day, of the 4 ultimates that they had, Gore, Blazing Hussars, only were able to use one of them. That is an unfortunate situation when you come into a comeback mechanic, fast cap type of situation. And it's just not what you want when you're trying to get the momentum back in a game.
And now the push is afoot once again. Tutu's gone. Sykes is going to be able to kill off Ninu. So right now, even though you would never guess it, the Moldamba is the deadliest to the dragon in the air.
Damage, dude.
Top damage. Top kills as of now.
Top kills, probably not
for his team. Graphias, unfortunately, just not able to find his pressure. Anytime he's looking for Ninu, he's getting out-pushed by Perdo, and that's the problem. Is like, you take one boxing matchup that's not going to favor you, and the one that's going to favor you, you can't take because the other guy keeps shooting.
Well, what the thing is, you're looking at champions, and that's what Luminary Genos has always done. You look at champions that are like super dangerous in general, like Drogos and Cassie, like by themselves, but then you just make Cassie hit for like, what if the buff said, hey, Cassie's no longer hitting for 650 in the patch note. She's hitting for 782 damage as another Dread Serpent from Sykes to kill Ninu. They know how important it is. That's what this Luminary Genos is doing. Through time and space almost catches Andrew Doodle. I'm surprised he went that direction. Beautiful stuff. I guess he had to try to contest at least for this moment. 2-2 with the Seismic Crash, but it looks like his walls are going to come down and allow Sour Team to get the victory. Just Sour Team were dominant. I mean, what else do you have to say? That was amazing play from them.
And that's kind of what you would expect. I mean, even though they lost Zarini because he was playing at LAN, first off, once he gets back, that's going to be a lot of knowledge that's going to come into the team. But Coriol has been such a big fix, and it has worked really well in top teams in this region before. So being able to just plug him in and play the way they are has just been so smooth.
He slotted right in, man, and I'm excited to see how this continues. Sour Team off to a good start, 1-0 already.
Thank you very much, guys. Our team off to a roaring start here. We'll see the slash lines here in a minute, but I think that there were 3 of them that just didn't die that game, and the Hussars unable to keep up. You stepped out and then had to sprint back here. Because
I know. I went to go get a sandwich, and I inhaled it because I'm like, oh, man, it's already 2-0. This could be over before I know it.
And it was over before you knew it, and it was just really just a case of Sour Team playing very, very, very well, making their composition work. I know there were maybe some question marks around whether the Drogos would really work out. Obviously it did. They felt confident with the pick, and for a good reason. Ninu doing huge things. Only 4 deaths on the side of Sour Team. Coriol filling in for Zarini while he's gone. Sheepa as well, undying in that game. Perdo, though, the guy on the Cassie, 10-1 and 11
let's take a look at Pedro
in that game.
Vote for Pedro.
Pedro is the guy you have to take a peek at.
39% here as Sour Team. This was like the closest thing they could have come to losing one of these points, but I think a reason Perdo is 10-1 is because his character is so quiet and he's playing from normal angles, definitely. Whereas with Genos kind of giving almost, and you see this reflected in the 3 deaths for Ninu. Ninu is just playing like turbo aggressive. He's just like W-keyed people down. He's taking like this little secret flank routes through the dark swamp area, and he's just blowing people up with the quick rocket into the fire spit combination. And that allows Perdo, all eyes are on him. Everyone's like, where's he coming from next? And nobody's kind of looking at Cassie, who's directly in front of them, kind of doing their thing.
So the Drogo's pick working out for them in this case.
Yeah.
One guy they really shut down on the opposite side, you mentioned it, we talk about Doodle a good bit on the side of the Hussars, but that's because he's usually the guy when these games are really close. It's usually Doodle on the Bomb King or someone similar who's really pushing the Hussars forward. And I think the Sour team just did a really good job of locking him down.
And I think a big part of that is, again, Ninu just plays so incredibly aggressive there.
Yep.
And a lot of that comes down to Ninu just saying, who's this Leon? What's his name?
Right.
Never heard of him. All right, I'm going in. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of a lack of respect there. He just was and he did die two times more than anyone else on his squad. So the fact that he just doesn't care was very, very prevalent in that game. And that blind aggression is just going to work out sometimes for you. And this is another map where he could do that again, but I would be surprised if he doesn't play some Xin today.
Hopefully seeing the Xin coming out today. The Pip, though, getting banned out as well as the Grover, so pretty standard. Sour team not wanting to let the Hussars get their hands on that one. The Torvald as well going to be taken off the board here for Jaguar Falls. The Makoa, pretty standard as well. Hussars again in the driver's seat here, looking for what they'll pick first off. They go back to the Inara. She wasn't necessarily the problem child of the last game. She's good for standing there and, providing a nice healthy wall for your team to deal with. So I'm fine with them going back to the Inara here. But Sour team potentially changing things up. I don't know why you would when you just 4-0'd them. Khan, Cassie, exactly the same two first picks as last time.
Sour team is in the seat to just say, well, if you're going to keep giving it to us, we'll keep taking it. We don't have really a problem with that. Now the Hussars, they need to switch it up. But so far, it looks like it is going to kind of stay all the same for them.
It's interesting to see. I mean, you go down so heavily in the previous game and then stick with the exact same stuff going into this one. The Leon as well. I mean, maybe they feel like it's just it just didn't work out for us this time.
We played that one wrong.
Right.
I mean, part of it is, right? Because part of it was Ninu is, playing into a bad match, but playing it so aggressively in a way that's not exactly a comfortable distance for Leon to just take him down at.
Right.
If she didn't deal with him, then Ninu wasn't going to be dealt with. I think it's that simple. Sour team will get the Ashe this time around, so that's a small switch up here. In the draft, they do grab themselves Genos and leave that 5th spot open for a counter pick with whatever Hussars round out with, which is likely to be like a Damba plus something.
So they get the Drogos. I like it. Maybe flipping it around a little bit, providing some of that aerial presence. You have the long-range Leon. You have the high-flying Drogos. It worked out exactly that way for Sour Team last game. The Damba as well, rounding out the Hussars 5. Sour Team now looking for their final damage dealer. Who's it going to be? Grok. Grok it is for number 5. What do you see on both sides here?
Well, it's not the most true hit scan threat ever, but the Grok will definitely keep pressure into the Drogos in the sky consistently. I think if he can bounce it up there, it's an interesting pick. I'm curious as to why they went with it, maybe just to continue to overwhelm, and that's kind of what Grok does best.
Well, when you're feeling confident, you can kind of do whatever you want. Jaguar Falls is going to be our destination for map number 2. Sour Team looking to make it 2-0. Let's send it down to Evan and Gore to take it away.
It's time to start this party all over again as the Jaguar Falls statue, the man, the myth, the Mayan legend, it seems like, stares back at us. It will hold inside these bases for the next 10 to 15 seconds. 10 Paladins champions that are going to go to battle in the realm and fight for the glory, fight for the magistrate, fight for the crystals.
Would you fight for the magistrate?
If they paid me enough. Or if they said,
would you
if
lay
you
down
don't,
in a tub of snakes
no,
for the
I
same
wouldn't.
amount of money to fight for the magistrate?
No, I absolutely would not. And that has been the conversation of the day. What would it take to lay down in a tub of live snakes? And at this point, Blazing Stars might be saying, well, to not play against Sour Team and to not have that happen on camera, they might do anything. But it did. You can't unsee that. And Judo gets it a little wrong. And unfortunately, this one is still going the way of Sour Team.
So what got you ahead in that fight? I don't know, man. It just all of a sudden Drogos just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It was pretty insane. I mean, Sour Team may be able to lock him down whether or not that ends up happening, but that definitely makes it a lot easier. Unfortunately for Blazing Stars, I saw what he was going for, but I feel like you need maybe a couple of extra levels of Propel,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe
The sports drink?
the momentum change that is coming for Drogo is coming in the next update when it comes through.
Okay.
So maybe a couple of things that could work in your favor, like month and a half from now, but not right now.
Dude, this is just rough too. The Inara was void grip. She was killed. Like, it was such a painful walk for the Inara to get back there. And now what's really interesting about the way that they went back to try to contest is they were close enough and they kept trying. And when they realized that, you know, they weren't able to do it, maybe they didn't realize, or maybe they had, you know, awareness that they were just going to try anyways. But now their team is fully reset, and they're kind of clumped back here. And we'll see a lot of teams go kind of pull back when they realize, okay, we lost one, let's just drop back and set the defense up. But now they've given up all this space really early in the push.
And when you're looking at this, again, that gives them more time to kind of, I mean, literally just throw things at the wall and see what sticks for the offense, right? It's like, cool, we have 2 minutes to play with, and we're already at the choke point.
Exactly.
Like, let's see if we get it on this one. If we don't, we'll come back in a minute and a half, and we'll do it again. If we don't do it, then we'll come at a minute. Like, you give so much time over to Sour Team to do something that, admittedly, with how good they are and
like, what's
how good they're
doing?
playing, they're just going to be able to do it on the first try.
Well, it feels like they're kind of tilting or diving. I don't know what it is. Like, you know, as that barrack, right? You know, you don't have your dome shield. You don't have a defensive mechanic. You're running into 2 players. The Khan's next to you, and Perdo, or Nino, excuse me, is hitting these shots. So maybe they're trying to reset, but it feels like there's just a level of over-aggressiveness. Maybe they could be pulling back a little bit here. But meanwhile, it really is about Sour Team and the space they're creating. Sheepa on this Ashe is doing such a good job. And he tries to go for the shoulder bash to get the 800 damage combo. Graffies into the Enlightenment. The Tempest swirls away, giving some movement speed as well. But it seems like the Ashe is going to assert her dominant CC immunity for the Inara, but Kamikaze will fall. Graffies comes back, but he's going to be going for another adventure. This time, the CC immunity is not around, but the Void Grip trolls him. Toot actually is going to stay in the contest range. Good stun as well from the Damba, but it's not enough. Surette falls, and Sour Team push it 2-0.
So far, Sour Team's greatest enemy has been themselves, really coming down to it. And very much like last game, they only have 2 total deaths that entire time. And of course, it's on 2 champions that are maybe a little bit easier to kill or more in the fray, depending on how you want to look at it. I believe Coriel is one of the deaths that they have. So it's not necessarily the easiest target to burn down, but when you look at the fact that Akan is pretty much always going to be standing in the front of everything, he's going to be taking the most damage. Easier to kill off than an Ashe, and Nino the other one to find those. And both of those kills this time going on to Graffies. So, like, signs of life, I want to say last game from a couple members of Blazing Hussars. Signs of life this game coming down from Graffies, but it doesn't feel cohesive just yet.
Yeah. I mean, the cohesion is really the key, right? That's the issue. And we'll see how this adjusts because, you know, they have that fast cap. We saw it work for all business. Can't see why it won't work here for Blazing Hussars. Taking the right side. This is where you do maybe want to do an aggressive dome shield. Kamikaze getting all into the face on that black backside as well, which is pretty interesting. No defensive mechanics. Perdo just going to back off, and now Toot's isolated. So they've gotten this kind of corral. What are they going to do with it here? That's the big question. Not much movement aside from that.
Yeah.
Not sure where it's going. Tempest now allowed to kind of be the response score.
I don't know if there's anything worse. One of the things, so you saw Andrew Doodle go down. You see Perdo getting super aggressive on this Grok, but you're on the other side of a building from Perdo, and he still hits Andrew Doodle using a shot ball, still gets all that damage and sets it up. And it's just, I can't think of a worse feeling to be in than Blazing Hussars trying your best to position in a great spot and still standing in just a way that the shock balls can go between all 5 of you.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, I like that they're throwing a lot of things at the wall. You said that might have been able to happen for Sour Team on the offense, but right here I'm seeing it feels like Blazing Hussars in general are just doing that. I don't quite get it, so I'm not going to try to get it right now. Surette's here getting blasted away. Good shots from him. Toot isolated, still contesting. Although by himself with absolutely no chance of being able to win that point. And Coriel on a 17 streak. The rest of Sour Team just walking this one through.
Sour Team are doing kind of what I would expect out of Sour Team.
Yeah.
But honestly doing it a lot better than what I normally expect out of Sour Team as well. This is, what, week 5 now that we've come into. And every single week it almost seems like they're better than the week they were before, which is impressive from them. And Clown Fiesta in the same vein where it's just like, whatever they are doing behind the scenes, the scrims that they have going on, the practice that they are applying for themselves is giving them such a lead over Blazing Hussars and all business right now that Europe, even though week 1 and the qualifiers were all heavily contested, feels very lopsided now.
Dude, this is, I don't really know what to say about this one. Lopsided, that's a great word, Thor. It's a great word. And maybe, you know, here's the thing. When someone's playing so well against you also, it makes you do weird things. You know, sometimes you're just like, man, what the heck do I need to do to kill this thing? I'm just going to dive this guy. And I can see a lot of people wanting to be, you know, I don't know, just getting a lot of focus here. There's 19 streaks, 22 streaks, 26 streaks. I'm not sure Sour Team, look at the KDAs before the game ends. That would be great, just so we can see. Shiba hasn't died all game. Jopi only died once alongside Perdo. Ninu and Koryo also only died once. That is a frustrating thing. And so some of that makes sense if you kind of look at it with frustration and why they're playing that way. Because it didn't feel like some coordinated Paladins. It did feel, though, that they were just trying to get some freaking kills and say, you're not winning this game without dying against me. But that's kind of exactly what Shiba did. And,
I mean, being able to keep that kind of pressure put up the entire time. Like, Sour Team, even if you're losing, like, they lost, there's a point where it's like, cool, we might lose one, maybe even two members. Like, do we really care? Like, even the three of us right now feel strong enough to be able to take down Blazing Hussars.
Yeah, great stuff, though, from Sour Team. That's the story. These guys are playing lights out. Send it back to the desk to break down game 2.
Thank you, guys. I think lights out is a bit of an understatement there. Sour Team rolling through the Hussars through the first couple games here and really taking it in a big way, Nick. And I mean, it's hard to break it down. It's
time to break
Sour
it
Team.
down.
That's the only breaking down we're going to be doing up here. Let's get the lights down.
I think you're right. You're right, man. And
but it's just it's Sour Team is just so good. They're just playing so well. Ninu was not missing on this Cassie the entire game. I mean, you saw moments of brilliance on top of what was just a baseline of really good play from Sour Team, and it's just too much to keep up with.
It's a little bit of what we talked about, man. It's Jopi and Koro being rock solid on the objective, combining for 12 and 2. Yeah, Shiba goes deathless. It's like those two are playing very well. Koryo's getting super powerful picks. Jopi's getting, those two are arguably getting the strongest picks on this lineup right now.
Right.
And then you just have these incredible, you know, time-tested veterans like Perdo and Shiba who have won big tournaments before in their life, and Ninu, who had an incredible split, the one PPL split he got the chance to play. That's this team, bro. That's the way they're supposed to be destroying people.
He's the casual 16.5 KDA, and for how short the game was, 65,000 and change damage is it's a pretty decent number there on that side. I mean, it's going to be hard to grasp onto anything, but if you're the Hussars here, what do you look to maybe change? Not necessarily, I mean, because right now Sour Team is playing well lights out, but I mean, to maybe take a point, make it a 4-3 game. Is there anything that you can change to keep up with this, or is Sour Team just playing that well?
Try to go for a Genos 3 DPS comp or something like that. Try to make Sour Team pick a composition that forces them to slow down by default without a choice. They don't have the champions to play as fast as they were just playing.
Right.
And then you pick a composition that allows you to play faster than the compositions you've traditionally been playing. I don't know if Blazing Hussars have the roster to feel comfortable pulling that off, but they gotta speed. They're just looking so overwhelmed at this point.
Sour Team not missing a beat here without Zarini picking up right where they left off. Serpent Beach is going to be map number 3, so pretty traditional. Does not look like the Hussars are going to be whipping out anything to maybe catch Sour Team off guard, at least map-wise right yet. So going somewhere where maybe they feel comfortable. Picks and bans are going to be coming up here for us in a second. We'll see if maybe either team chooses to...
Yeah.
I mean, Sour Team, again, I mean, they picked essentially the same exact draft there in map number 2 as they did in map number 1, and it's don't fix if it isn't broken. So if there's somebody who needs to mix things up, as you said, it's on the Hussars here, so maybe pulling out something to surprise us a little bit.
Here's what I want from them. I want Barrack, Ruckus, Bomb King, EV Genos. That's the comp I want for them right now.
Coach Pretty Hair telling you what he wants.
Good luck.
Send your children on their way.
Full send here. That's a joke, but at the same time, I think at this point you need to just pick something wild and full send it and just throw a haymaker, and they might just kind of sidestep it and knock you out, but that's okay because you've been getting knocked on your ass
swinging, you know?
Every game.
Exactly. It's like Captain America. I'm just a little kid from Brooklyn, but you know, keep fighting back the entire time. The bands stay the same on both sides here. The Inara, instead of going to the Hussars, they go Grover first, so Inara Barrett going over to the side of Sour Team, which is I guess slightly different than what we've seen prior here. But now Hussars are in the driver's seat. They can mix things up if they choose. Ash is going to be pick number 1 for them here to round out their top 3. Who will it be? I'm not sure. Who do you think it'll be?
Neil.
Leon, did you you were gonna say Leon? I could feel it. Leon it is though. They go back to the Leon. Graphies on the Leon certainly hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. I mean, last game he had 4 of the 5 kills for the Hussars. So sticking with what is working and maybe changing up what isn't.
It is his comfort pick here, but Sour Team do get the Genos.
Yep.
This Grover better pull some weight for me in this game.
Yep.
This is a first pick, and Grover has kind of been one of those characters that I really haven't truly seen the light on a lot of maps. I don't think he's been like this very catch-all band to my money, because when he makes it through, I mean, it seems very easy to shut him down, especially once you get toward that mid game. Even with like a Cauterize 2, you can really put a damper on his ultimate and blow people up through it.
Hell.
Well, there you go. You got your triple DPS. You got what you asked for. Well, you asked for a very specific.
what I want in the end.
You asked for a specific lineup.
Close.
But triple DPS, I mean, they're trying something new, which is I think what we wanted to see. So they're at least pulling that out. The Tyra kind of, I mean, it's not the same as the Genos, but kind of providing that buff to her team.
It'll do.
Knessa rounds out the Sour Team lineup as Game 3 is about to get underway here. Looking to make it a clean 3-0 as Sour Team looking to start the reverse sweep are the Hussars, but we're not going to tell you about it. To do that, we're going to send it down to Evan and Gore.
All right, it's time to get Game 3 started, and the key to it all is the triple DPS with a little bit of extra damage there. Kampiker's been playing like a DPS, so I'm glad that he's finally on one instead of that Barrack. I could tell that the aggressiveness from this team is definitely kind of shown through in their attempts at playing, but there's a really strong point lineup presence from Coriel and Sheepa, almost the perfect counter, so to speak, if they cannot deal with it. And the great thing that I love is that they're applying pressure on 2 fronts. They've got the sniper, so you have to aggress on a Perdo, but then you have to contest the point because you have a Barrack and a Nara. It's a very smart draft from Sour Team, in my opinion.
And honestly, the one thing that's catching my eye, as much as the front line I think are going to kind of determine how this game can roll, at least the kind of long-term portions of it, you're also going to have to look at Perdo. You're going to have to look at Ninu, because with both of those champions on their own, they do enough damage that triple DPS is going to be threatened. Now they have the Luminary boost, and they don't seem too worried about what Blazing Hussars have to say.
Yeah, this is going to be over fast.
They got your memo, and they said, yeah, about that. And actually, you were fired last week, so I don't know why you're still messaging.
I don't know why. You know, what's also funny, too, is that... you know, how do you still have the email? You know, I think at the end of the day, too, it's what's great is the EV pressure, and Andrew Doodle shuts it down now, but it feels like a day late and a dollar short. That's a good burst steal from Grover. Maybe they could turn this around. But the EV pressure on top of the Knessa, like, ticking time bomb, as well as the just point dominance that's going to be had from Barrack and Inara, I don't see how Blazing Stars can deal with all 3 of those things. You know, they don't have good backline dive in Tyra, in Leon, even in BK, really. I mean, and definitely not really in Ash, especially when you talk about high ground. They've got champions who can get to high ground. They've got everything they want. This is a wonderful draft.
I'm honestly, for Blazing Hussars here, I'm looking at Bomb King's ult charge, and I'm saying as long as you can have that at the end of the round going into this next one, you're going to be set. Like, as long as you can use that properly at the beginning to maybe get rid of Perdo, maybe get rid of his pressure at least, then that's going to give you that fight then. But right now, there's so much that you have to be able to do. That's a good start, but there's just so much control from Sour Team that, again, losing a single person doesn't seem to bother them.
Yeah, and I think that's...
Oh, no! Oh, he lives! Well, at least for a little bit.
For a moment, but that would have been the better way to die.
He got a heart attack just to then die to the bullets that were coming through anyway.
Scary, scary. That was a close one. But he will make it out. And Andrew Doodle has had his fair share of encounters with just that sweet, sweet water today. Not the type of hydration that's good for you.
Close encounters of the Serpent Beach kind.
Close encounters of the H2O kind, you know.
Very dangerous scenario. 3 kills this time, though. So bumping it up, Blazing Stars. Progress is still progress. Ninu is the one that's kind of the brunt of all that damage, though, that's been coming through Perdo. And this is something we actually got to see, again, I don't know if it was yesterday or last week, when you're looking at a Serpent Beach map, Androxus can make a huge difference. A flank can make a huge difference, especially when the other team has a sniper, because when you're putting that pressure on that sniper, they react differently. They aren't able to get as many shots down. They have to fight in a zone where they're not comfortable.
No, 100%.
Who's Perdo worried about? Like, I mean, maybe Graphies, maybe some Kamaker, but 9 times out of 10, they're not going to make it far enough through Sour Team to get to him.
4 minutes gone by, already 2-0 in the game. Blazing Hussars at their last breath and trying the triple DPS, but has not worked out thus far. There's a big Ice Storm potential here, especially if they stay clumped. Ninu knows it. This man's definitely looking for the opportunity. He's going to see it. Just an instant kill, and you already got value from it. And now you're just back to where you started. Coriol even shutting down Andrew Doodle. Ninu getting the last hit. Coriol looking to finish off the support by himself. He's going to chase the Grover down. It's that dominant, guys. This is how Sour Team has showed up today. They are looking like just a well-oiled machine.
I feel like that Headhunter was popped more for style than anything. I don't think there was anyone he really wanted. He just wanted to one-shot somebody.
He really
At least
did.
really tried to. That Luminary boost, a Headhunter, woo! Together, they're going to work out really well.
He's got all the angles he needs. And that's the thing, you know, Kinessa really doing a different level of damage with this Luminary boost. It's a different beast. And you're just not expecting it, you know, especially with her getting nerfed and people getting adjusted to, okay, what does that feel like? And Genos being gone the entire time. And now he's back, and it's just like, wait, is this... She's hitting harder than I would have expected.
And for the most part, it's not a one-shot. It's not exactly, it's never enough to make you truly dead, I guess, from the one hit, but you're going to be so close to it that you might as well not be in that engagement.
No, you're right. I mean, I think Luminary steady aim when you have the bonus damage and a headshot is enough.
Could be enough.
I think it's enough, and I know definitely with the Headhunter, it's definitely enough. So there's a lot of different options they have to dominate with Eagle Eye, Eagle Eye, but even with steady aim is what I'm saying, with that talent.
Yeah.
When you get the bonus damage activated, I think it might be, especially for some of these characters as well. 2,000 health for Graphies. Not that much to get over for the 15% damage boost. Already looking good on the push. Andrew Doodle with a nice stun on the Perdo, trying to set up the trap, and he's going to find that kill. So maybe it'll slow down Sour Team. But I don't know if the result's going to be any different. He is kind of trapped, isn't he? And Ninu's going to make him pay.
Honestly, Kinessa is in that area where I think that's her viability as a sniper. So Strix is incredibly good for multitudes of reasons. I think he has much more varied play style than Kinessa. But Kinessa, if you have a guy that is going to consistently hit headshots, and now you put this Luminary Genos behind it, you go back to the reason Eagle Eye was really good the first time around. That bonus damage on a headshot is incredible because now you're looking at, man, I have to have 2250 or 2300, 2450. Like, I have to have so much health in order to live through those shots. That it almost makes you lose if you go triple DPS against
and
them.
especially if you have someone like Ninu who's just like just filleting them for you, getting ready to cook the meat, but he's, you know, the guy in the sous chef prepping all the stuff for you just so you can have an easy experience of just cooking it the right way and doing a little what is it called when you dress the plate, all these great things
when you food network
it, you know what I'm saying? I think this is a great showcase of Sour Team cutting through their competition. It's a 3-0 as we expected. That'll do it for Europe, but let's send it back to the desk to break the set down.
I think it's called like presentation art or something like that. The art of the food there's the word presentation somewhere in there as far as dressing the plate.
Like
Plating is what it's called, not presentation. Plating is what it's called. So Sour Team prepare the food and then they plate it perfectly and push it out the window for us to enjoy.
That nice drizzle over it. And
That's
it's just
right.
perfect.
You know, they wrap their wrist in a really weird. Oh, there you go. The saltiness.
In such a way.
They sprinkle the salt around. Sour Team, though, in a big way today. That was a clean 12-0 maps. I mean, they just... It's hard to really look too deeply into it because they are just such a good team that they make whatever work.
I mean, Coriol even on the Inara 10-1, just getting to the point where he's just walking people down. I was out in the break room with some of the guys from Virtus Pro are here screaming Hecate, just watching this Kinessa just drooling, being like, man. I wish when I played Navi they would just all stand out in front of me like this. That's a big part of playing against a sniper on any map, really, is being aware of your lines of sights and where Perdo is looking to stand. And this was the moment where he's just like, damn, I wish I could be playing in this game right now.
Well, it helps when a Kinessa shot does like at least 3/4 of the squishy target's health. It's very helpful. It's very nice, but Hussars looking to take something away from that. They at least changed it up. I mean, that shows, I think, a willingness to switch things up and maybe try to grasp or something to look at. We'll take a quick look at the updated standings after today's matches. Remember, those map differentials is kind of what we're looking at. So Sour Team, Clown Fiesta going neck and neck here, both 3-0 today. And that's good that Sour Team were able to 3-0 as well, because a clean 3-map differential would have prevented them from tying it in the case of, Clown Fiesta lost, Sour Team win, but holding on their own up there. All Business 3, Blazing Hussars 4. So at least the EU side of things pretty much going the way we expected here today.
Yeah, and frankly, even a little bit more cleanly for Sour Team than it was for Clown Fiesta there. Yeah. But Blazing Hussars, I don't know what you pull from that. I'll be completely honest. That's a tough one.
I think, like I said, you just have to show that you're willing to do something different if it's going that badly. I mean, I think that's really the takeaway is like, all right, we're at least willing to get creative, because if they had stuck with the same old thing every time, that would have been a little bit tough to watch. But that is going to wrap up the EU portion of our Paladins minor league here today. NA is coming up next after this quick break. We have a number 1 versus number 3 matchup, Ferocity versus Zenith. You don't want to miss it.
The Paladins